not only the user, because in food, we have a difference between the customer and the consumer. So the customer is the person that experiences your product at the point of purchase.
Okay.
And the consumer is the person that actually uses the product, the end user. You're selling baby food, for example. The people that buy are not the people that eat, that consume. You're selling pet food.
Please just share. There's share.
Oh, there's share of shelf.
You will see why I brought him to our podcast. God, wait, please. There's share of mine. There's share of shelf. I said I went home last year. So, welcome back. Today's guest is someone whose career spans global multinationals, emerging markets, education, food systems, commercial strategy, and Sub-Saharan Africa, and the Middle East included. So Victor Okeugo is a senior business development and commercial leader with experience at organizations such as Times Higher Education, Elsevier, Novozymes, Arla Foods, and GSK. So you've spent a significant part of your career in emerging markets, especially Sub-Saharan Africa. Okay, many people talk about Africa's potential, but few have actually built commercial strategies on ground. This is true. Okay, from your experience, what do people misunderstand about doing business in emerging markets?
Okay, so we have emerging markets as a descriptor for certain types of countries.
I was even going to start
markets,
from there.
right?
What is an emerging market?
So because there are various definitions for this.
Okay.
But for the sake of this conversation, let me limit my scope to Sub-Saharan Africa.
Okay.
And when we say Sub-Saharan Africa, we're talking about the part of Africa that is, I'd say, below Northern Africa.
Yeah.
So you remove Northern Africa, the remaining part is Sub-Saharan Africa.
This is different from the Sahel.
Yeah, so basically, I think some parts of the Sahel,
some parts of the Sahel,
South Africa, So, but just remove the North Africa sub-region. The remaining is Sub-Saharan Africa, and most of my experience in Sub-Saharan Africa has been across West, Central, and East Africa. Not a lot in Southern Africa, right? Most around West, Central, and so basically a bulk of 30-something odd countries, right?
30-something
across that range. Now, people that are developing solutions for Sub-Saharan Africa, one of the first problems we identified in their approach is having a blanket approach to Sub-Saharan Africa or a blanket approach to emerging markets. And you don't only see this in business circles. You see this as well when you have conversations with people who are outside of Africa. They refer to Africa as if it's one country, right?
No comment.
Yeah. So they refer to Africa as if it's one country, but it's not. It's 54 countries.
54 countries.
Right? So basically, also when people schedule plans, strategy for Africa, there is this homogeneity in their approach. That is the first recipe for failure.
I see.
Right? It's the first recipe. So part of what I do is to help create clarity. First of all, to the fact that your customers are spread in Africa, in Sub-Saharan Africa, are spread across different cultures with different realities, right? And really, in real terms, different economic environments too, right? Now, if I use an example from dairy business, right? Coming into Africa, because we started Sub-Saharan Africa from scratch.
Wow.
So we're based in the Middle East, and then when it was time to set up for Sub-Saharan Africa, there were 4 of us that started that business.
Wow.
4. And by the time I left, I think it's end of 2018.
Wow.
Sub-Saharan Africa was roughly plus minus at least more than 500-600 people.
Wow, you are really a builder. You are really a builder.
So basically, with dairy, for example, if you are coming into Sub-Saharan Africa with a product like that, you have a whole lot of countries in front of you.
Wow.
The first question is, what are the needs of these people? And which of them am I adequately equipped to meet? Number one. When you've had a good assessment of need states of your customers, that will determine the product type. And it might be that you don't even have the solution. And you need to create something that fits the need of what. So the major problem with people who come into markets like this is that they already have a product suite, like a set of products, right? They are working forwards in terms of, we have this product, let's find a way to sell. It should be the other way around.
The other way around.
The needs. What are the needs
of these people?
And what solutions can meet those needs? And do I have those solutions? If I don't have, can I actually create around them?
So it flows. It's not solutionary. It flows from needs. I mean, what you're saying now is just like stakeholder. When we want to do it, you have to, before you start a project, what are the requirements from that stakeholder?
Exactly.
And then you now start building use cases based on that.
Look at the risk of not understanding need states. I give you an example with dairy, right? Now, we're looking to actually set up to have maybe hubs,
Mm.
like sub-regional hubs, West Africa, East
Yeah.
Africa, things like that.
Yeah.
Visited Kenya, Tanzania at the time, looking to see how we can actually get a better understanding of the dairy opportunity.
Wow.
The products were actually coming into Africa with as an arrowhead was milk powder because that was what showed the greatest opportunity.
Yeah.
Right.
For the market.
Yeah. Starting with Nigeria.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, but by the time you go to East Africa, you see that their dairy sufficiency is quite high. Meaning they produce quite a lot of milk from their cows over there.
Oh.
So liquid milk consumption is really high. Liquid milk and milk derivatives is really high. In fact, in some of these markets, dairy is part of their cooking, which is not something you can say for West Africa, for at least English-speaking West Africa, like Nigeria. So basically, you then say, okay, if milk powder is my strategy for Africa, you've already started to fail in places like East Africa. That's number one. Number two, regulatory environments.
Okay.
Because of their milk sufficiency,
Yeah.
they have created some protectionist laws for dairy, meaning that if you're importing dairy, the taxes you will need to pay will eat up every profit you hope to make.
Profit margin is going to eat. Oh, wow.
You're going to be running at loss, at significant losses. Except, okay, let me not go too deep. But again, you understand the differences now. But you come to a place like Nigeria, it's a different story. Dairy sufficiency is significantly low.
Low,
far less than 20% at the time. I mean, some data says somewhere around 10, 12%.
18, maybe, yeah.
Right? So that was at then. I don't know about now. Now, secondly, the protectionist laws, the tax environment was significantly different.
Right. So penetration was easier for Nigeria. It is, even without.
Much easier. Right. Then, depending on your type of solution, there is also the challenge of distribution.
Logistics now.
Logistics. And while Nigeria, you might have clocked, you might have really, solved for products. You might have solved for compliance and regulatory. We're not even talking about product regulatory now because NAFDAC and the rest. It's another hill to climb. Now, logistics and distribution happens to be one of the biggest challenges in places like Nigeria. And not only Nigeria, some select African markets.
As at then, with trains now, is it easier?
Well, trains also have limited reach, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true.
It is right now. Because the problem is usually, the biggest problem is in last mile distribution. Last mile distribution. And that is why even logistics companies are still finding out. I don't want to give like specific examples with some, so it doesn't look like. Logistics companies are finding that is their biggest challenge.
Last mile. What gets it to the door?
To the door.
Okay.
Exactly.
Last mile.
Yes. So that's their biggest. That's where the biggest challenge is. And companies have innovated around this in different ways. Some companies come and they appoint a local partner.
Oh, okay.
Right. So that will take care of products, brand management. You take care of logistics, distribution, and things like that.
More like it's not disintegrating, but outsourcing it.
Exactly. Outsourcing.
Giving it out.
Or they just they either outsource it or they get them on as a partner.
There's something that happens in the R&D space, especially in like formulations and products. So what some big companies do is they are not in charge of research and development. They are not in charge of all that like ground testing. They have some subsidiaries who do that for them. The moment that thing is like tested, they now take it with their brand and then they scale it and they've left that part of R&D.
Exactly. So basically, remember when we talk about logistics, we're not only talking about like only logistics, outbound logistics, there's also inbound. So outbound is like taking the products out. Inbound, getting your raw materials and all those things, getting them in.
Can I ask something?
Yes,
so
please.
For instance, when you talk about logistics, let's use the powdered milk and liquid dairy analogy. For a country like Nigeria, where powdered milk is favorable, so to say, because of power supply and other things, with powdered milk, don't you think the logistics was easier because you're not talking about refrigeration? You just need to ship something powdered compared to, for instance, if you were to penetrate, which country did you call now? East Africa, where they're heavily into liquid, fresh milk. And now we're not talking about refrigeration. So how do you put those two together to look at which one, or is poor network, road network, key factor no matter what?
So like I said, the realities differ per country. It's true that we're using Nigeria, East Africa, for example. But the realities differ per country, right?
Okay.
But regardless of the country, you will face all these challenges in some degree.
Okay.
Right? In one way or another. Some are worse than others.
I see.
Right? But you will find them in some ways. They're always there. Right? Now, come down to our example, right? Of course, in terms of actual practicalities, milk powder was quite easier to manage than liquid.
Than liquid.
However, so my role was also, after we started milk powder and
Yeah,
everything,
yeah.
my role was also responsible for actually starting up the liquid portfolio, right? Sometimes when we start, after the startup process period, right? Now, that came with its own set of challenges. However, we started with liquid from a UHT perspective, not fresh. Right.
UHT is
Yes,
for the
ultra high temperature.
Yeah, okay. So it's been pasteurized.
Pasteurized
Okay.
and
For the
fridge
purpose of
yes. So UHT and the milk that comes in packs,
Yeah,
in 1
yeah,
liter packs,
yeah, yeah.
it can stay for
we do have them.
yeah.
In
So it can stay for
long
9
life.
months.
Long
yes,
life,
long
yeah.
life milk. Yeah. So basically, they've passed through UHT treatment
Yeah.
and now those ones did not need that specialized refrigeration and things like that until they were opened at the consumer point.
Yeah.
Right. But that also presented another set of challenges because all the milk we're selling at the time was produced in Europe. So the powdered milk was coming in bags and repacked in Nigeria. The liquid milk was coming fully prepacked.
Wow.
From Europe and coming into Nigeria.
Yeah.
One of the challenges presented, in fact, I have an example. An example that's nearly gave me white hairs on my head.
Wow.
Because at the time, you know that selling, again, this is another example of Africa being a diverse market. Any product you sell, which is a food product, a health product, a medicine, things like that, they need to have NAFDAC approval.
Yeah.
And a proof of NAFDAC approval is a NAFDAC number that must be on pack.
Yeah.
Now, but you don't need that NAFDAC number on the pack of a product you sell in a place like Cameroon, for example. Right? So basically, there was a time when I think we're expecting some products from Europe, a couple of containers of UHT milk. It so happened that there was an error, and product meant for Cameroon came to Nigeria. So we had about, I think, 2 containers full of products without NAFDAC number.
Wow.
And you can imagine what the implication of that was. They were seized at the port.
Whoa.
So we had to start a fresh process.
Wow.
So now it was grueling to get NAFDAC numbers on each product, one by one.
Couldn't you just have sent them back?
We couldn't.
Wow.
We couldn't at the time. Wow. So basically, I think this is a good illustration of the fact that African markets are diverse. To scale regulatory registration in places like Nigeria and Ghana for food products is so intense, especially for a multinational company. It's so intense such that you could easily just go to a place like, say, Cameroon and it's a bit easier.
So is this more stringent? I don't know if that's the word, strict for food, consumer drugs, and other things. But when you talk about tech, like say, fintech maybe, but when you talk about other technology products, is it different in terms of regulation?
So different industries have different levels of regulation. Right? Different industries, so depending on the industry. You just mentioned fintech now, basically.
Yeah.
And these guys at Money Point will tell you. They will tell you how much fines have come under due to regulatory pressure.
Wow.
People like these guys that process payments. Flutterwave.
Yeah.
Will tell you to get licenses in various countries because now they are really Afrocentric. They really want to enter as many African countries as possible. But to get the licenses per country, and these are some of the problems as well that hopefully African leaders can really come together to see how to solve it. Because I would say some of these things they've started solving for them in places like the EU.
Making it one market and a European zone market sort of.
Exactly. In the early days of my career, there was a time when, for example, and this is just regulation, we've not even talked about movement around.
Oh, yeah.
There was a time I needed to have a meeting in Cameroon.
Cameroon is just by cross river there.
By the corner, bordering Nigeria. But because there was no direct flight and I would never go by sea, I had to take a flight to Ivory Coast.
Oh, wow.
Connect and then take another flight to Cameroon, which was the
wow.
So it's better now because you have some flights now.
Oh, yeah.
So movement is
connectivity,
and thankfully we're also seeing some ease in visa regulations in places like Kenya.
Yeah.
Have you tried getting a Ugandan visa?
Hopefully my British passports can carry.
Yes. No, it's better for people with non-African passports. It's much better.
Let's take a bit of a break from emerging markets. We'll come back to that later. But I wanted to, last year again when we were discussing, I want people to hear this. So you studied mass communication as your bachelor's. That was your background. But then you were telling me, like when you were in GSK, you had to start reading science, like not just for the sake of, okay, this is biology. You had to start studying biochemistry. You had to start studying food. You became a scientist. Let's unpack that.
This was not GSK per se.
Okay,
it was Novozymes.
Novozymes, yes. When you joined Novozymes.
It was Novozymes.
Novozymes is a pharmaceutical?
No, so they produce industrial enzymes.
Industrial enzymes. Study biochemistry. He was learning that.
So basically, I like you mentioned, my degree was in mass communication.
Yeah.
And even in secondary school, I was not a science student. I was not even commercial. I was in the arts, basically. So basically, when I left the university, I started with a commercial position.
Yeah.
So I had to really get into understanding finance, reading up debit and credit, things like that, revenue,
income statement,
things like that and all. Then, of course, by the time I moved into Novozymes, it was still a commercial role, business development. But you're selling industrial enzymes, right? Your customers, the people you have to speak to in your customer organizations are R&D directors.
Research and development, R&D. Yeah.
R&D directors. Now, some of these guys have had PhDs before you were born.
I like the emphasis on before you were born.
And now you have to convince them that the solution you're bringing is better than what they've known for years.
Look.
And you are just a flat-out commercial guy. You've never sat in a physics or chemistry class, and you want to prove. Do you see the situation I was in?
Yeah.
So basically,
you had to study.
Yes, after my first few meetings, I felt so useless that, of course, I could hold my own in commercial meetings.
Yeah,
but I knew that I needed to be more effective in how I position my products. Right. I had a technical colleague, but he wasn't with me all the time.
No.
There are times when, in fact, my technical colleague was based in South Africa. And then I have to raise business in West and Central Africa at the time. So basically, I knew that for me to move at the pace that I wanted, I needed to get a foundational understanding. And this was because I was coming from Ala Foods at the time. And one of the things that helped me with Ala Foods was that I went to, because of the time I spent in the company and the various roles I've held and the various markets, I actually went to the foundational level, understand dairy production from scratch. I visited the dairies in Europe, looked at how they did their work.
Wow.
I slept on a dairy farm, understood from milking process to factory process to warehousing to the shop floor. So basically understood. So
boots on the ground.
So for me, part of my secrets is wherever I enter, regardless of whether you are required to do it or not. Go to root causes.
Grassroots.
Go down to understand root causes in your industry.
I am in the space sector now. And when I came in, I was like, okay, I just manage projects, but what he's saying is true. I now know about positioning, navigation, and timing. I now know about what's it called, quantum PNT. I can call myself a space. You have to know it.
So you might not get to like
expertise level. No,
you are not.
Just
get an understanding.
Foundational.
And that was what I tried to do in Novozymes. That listen, I'm selling industrial enzymes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of biochemistry happening here.
Yeah.
So why not just go to understand from the root cause? So and again, I was selling these industrial enzymes to food manufacturing companies and flour mills.
Oh, I see.
And so basically, I watched a number. In fact, I signed up for a baking class. Just that I did not have the time to attend. I could bake in the house, but there are there were some elements of commercial baking that I really didn't understand. So the idea was get into the mind of your customer, understand how your customer thinks. Basically, that was the driving force.
There's a concept like this in marketing or in business. Is there? Like when you understand the customer, like where the heart of it. I think there's a concept. I'll look.
Oh, of course. I mean,
there's a term.
I might not know the exact term you're referring to, because but basically the idea of succeeding in business.
User experience, is that it?
So yeah, I mean, so user experience is an interpretation of the understanding you have of your customer. So user experience is just like interpreting your understanding of the customer in how they get to experience your products.
Because you can manufacture this power bank, for instance. Yeah. But have you tried to use it? Is it usable? What's the usability? So yeah.
So basically, in fact, not only the user. If you're talking about experience now, not only the user, because in food we have a difference between the customer and the consumer.
Ah, okay. Who is the customer and who is the consumer?
So the customer is the person that experiences your product at the point of purchase.
Okay.
And the consumer is the person that actually uses the product, the end user. You're selling baby food, for example.
Ah.
The people that buy are not the people that eat, that consume. You're selling pet food.
Please just
so so so
yeah, so
so
baby
you,
food, for instance, as
yeah.
a mom, I buy baby food, but my baby eats it. Pet food, I buy pet food, but the pet uses it. And then the consumer is the person who is.
So the end user is the consumer. The customer is the person that engages at the point of purchase, basically. So sometimes the customer and the consumer can be the same person.
Yeah.
But you also have to design their experiences at those various touch points.
My goodness. I had never thought about customer and consumer as being different.
Yeah. So basically, if you're doing an advert for, say, a kid's toy, right? The kids will use it.
But they're not the ones buying it.
They're not the ones buying it. But as a marketing person, as a commercial person, you have to optimize for the experience of the buyer and the experience of the user.
I agree, because if I buy a toy for my kid and I don't know how to set it up, I won't buy it again. It's not going to sell.
That also even plugs into the advertising materials that you develop. Who are you developing it for? Are you developing it actually to create it? Because just like you said at the beginning, when we were talking last year, we talked about difference in marketing and sales.
Yeah.
Basically, where we said marketing, the job of marketing is to actually create a pull.
A pull.
While the job of sales is to create a push.
A push.
So while sales guys ensure that the product is at the point of purchase.
Yeah. To make sure it's available.
It's available, right?
Yeah.
And that the customer has good reason to select it above others.
Yeah.
The job of the marketer is to ensure that whoever is coming out is pulled to that product.
That product.
So they have a nexus, they have a meeting point.
A meeting point.
Yes. So the meeting point, which is the point of purchase, the salesperson has a role, the marketing person has a role, right?
Wow.
The marketing person designs whatever tools are used at that point of purchase, having the psychology of the customer in mind.
Wow.
The salesperson ensures that those design materials are set up correctly.
Please, when are you starting your own YouTube channel? Can we learn all these things in just one podcast? How many people will stay tuned? This is like
so basically these functions operate hand in hand.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm trying to remember from where I diverted now.
The question at the point of the next
question that led to this
learning. Oh no, user experience.
Yeah. So the user experience. Yeah. So basically, for me, I'm a business development person, so I have to consider.
It's more of sales.
I have to consider end to end, both sales and marketing. So most times, my core function is a selling function.
Okay.
But of course, in the region where I am, most of the time, at least for the last 7-8 years, it has just been me in market. There's a marketing person, a finance person, but they are not right there in the market. I'm the one,
You're the one
in the market. So I have to actually do the sales function, and if there is any marketing activity, the execution also rests on me. Right? The local country execution, I have to lead that as well. So basically, I have to think, I have to be in the head of the customer.
The head of the customer.
Understand how they think, understand what their need states are, understand how. So for me to actually understand, in the case of this B2B for Novozymes, my customer were these R&D directors. So I needed to get it. That was actually what pushed me to start looking into biochemistry, spending nights. I'll work in the day, I'll read in the nights. I'll work in the day, I'll read in the nights. So I did that for like 3 months. If we focus on talking about peer mentorship, that's another podcast topic.
So I think so far we've been able to cover your career, a bit of a squiggle, not so much in terms of roles, but squiggling across different sectors. We've talked about emerging markets, we've talked about branding, we've talked about marketing, we've talked about career proper, like career and what it entails, and we've also gone into relationship and networking. So 2 hours.
It is well.
So this is a Netflix. This is Netflix and chill podcast, but it's been a lot. It's been as usual. It's been incredible having you here, drawing these insights, so you can see what I saw when I came to London in January.
I learned a lot myself too.
This time I came prepared with my notebook. So for everyone watching, if this conversation added value, please kindly share with someone who you think would benefit from career advice, marketing, leadership, emerging markets, maybe a brand trying to penetrate Africa. You know who to go to. Victor Okeugo. Victor, where can we find you on socials? I know LinkedIn.
So Victor Okeugo on LinkedIn.
So if you want to find Victor on LinkedIn, you want to penetrate Sub-Saharan Africa, if you want to take your business global, culture, eat strategy for breakfast.
I actually consult for some companies.
You do consult. Yes, he's also into private consulting. Please, if you're trying to push your brands, maybe you are a company or a multinational in India, in Mexico, because I have people watching from Uruguay, from Australia, New Zealand. Yeah, we have Australians and New Zealanders. If you have a brand, a company, and you want to push it into Sub-Saharan Africa, Middle East, this Victor is your go-to guy, proven strategy for over 15 years in the market, boots on the ground, delivering results, not just hype, not just vibes, but real results that speak louder than whatever. So thank you so much for coming on our channel. Hopefully this brings more people your way, more business your way, and more visibility your way. And we are looking forward to that YouTube channel, because we are going to I'm going to be on your neck. You know me now. I won't stop pestering. please just, I need to learn about marketing. I need to learn about branding. I need to learn from you, because who is the best textbook for me? Yes, please. You owe us a YouTube channel.
I'll think about it.
Oh my God. Okay. I thought it was going to be a definite yes. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being patient to the very end. See you on the next episode of this one was about leadership and emerging markets. So I think the next one is going to be Founders Corner. Please just stay tuned and hit the subscribe button. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.